Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of On the Record, presented by CalledIt. We are happy to be here with you for the next 20 to 30 minutes as we delve into some of the most compelling topics on the prediction platforms. Kalshi, Polymarket, we are covering both, and we are covering numerous areas today in the sports world. We've got some baseball action early this afternoon on this Thursday on the Diamond, a compelling one between the Red Sox and Orioles, which involves our daily call at CalledIt, which you can see at www.calledit.media to either follow our daily call, meaning the trade we are going to be making of the day. You can go the opposite way, or you can log your own to see how you stack up amongst the rest of the community. And that also coincides with our challenge called The Run, where we look to turn $250 into a $1 million finish. Moving trade over trade over trade, ideally through 12 days to turn that $250 into 1 million. Now, we did have a little streak going up until last night. I think we had 4 days in a row going. And then unfortunately, the daily call had the Spurs to cover that 4.5 spot in game one of the NBA Finals. Did not come to fruition as the New York Knicks, as the underdog, did come through in game one, canceling out the run that CalledIt had. But the good news is we can start right on over. And so we have plenty to look forward to with getting that going again on the Diamond, like we said, with that matchup. We'll also talk some dark horse futures, some candidates for the World Cup as we get closer to the start of the World Cup in 2026. And we'll take things a little bit out of the box, as you guys know we do here on the record. We'll talk, believe it or not, some Taylor Swift streams. You know how it goes in Kalshi. Anything goes. So we'll be hitting everything. We talked aliens the last time, and now we're going to move it to the music industry and talk some Taylor Swift. But we'll go ahead and bring in our guests. We have Dane Martinez joining us today. Second time here on the program. And look, Dane, the last time you were here, you called it nicely with the Spurs. Now, I know you're out on the East Coast. I know you're sporting the Knicks, my friend. And, man, quite the game one. How about it?
Yeah, absolutely. If I was on that last show, I would have gone against the call of the Spurs. Absolutely. Because I think, to be quite honest, the Spurs are a good matchup for the Knicks. One of the things I saw in that game that I think will continue to happen is Cat. And the way Cat can play, we talked about Cat being a creator as the Knicks have unlocked this offense, but Cat also plays on the perimeter. What does that do? That brings Wemby outside a little bit more, so he can't be that kind of safety playing center field on the defensive side. I think that is very important. And then when it comes to clutch time, who is better than Jalen Brunson? And what you saw last night, I am almost accustomed to as a Knicks fan. So I do think it's going to be an interesting series. But you're right, Danny. I am 1-0. We talked about Scott Foster as the series extender last time. And I think SGA went from having 17 free throws to like 3 the next game. We'll see what happens with the NBA Finals as we head on into game 2.
Yeah, so incredible work by you, Dane. And I was with you. I saw that call, and I'm like, I don't know, man. It feels like everybody and their sisters looking for the Spurs to take this first spot. But don't count out the scrappy Knicks team, man. And especially with the southpaw Jalen Brunson crushing it on the hardwood the way he has. But just the shot making is absolutely ridiculous. So, again, as we get farther and farther in this series, I can't wait to get some more of your thoughts and to keep watching. It's going to be incredibly entertaining. So it was a fun game one. We've also got plenty more fun happening on the pitch, and to talk more about that later on the show, we're joined by Maya Campion, Maya.pitchside, where you can catch her on Instagram. Maya, day after day, we keep getting closer and closer. Man, I cannot wait for the World Cup to start. How has your anticipation been treating you? I know you got to be making your way over to North America soon enough here.
Yeah, I've been waiting 4 years and now it's less than a week away. You see all the teams are arriving in the US and Mexico and Canada at their training camps. It's hard to believe. My focus right now is just trying to get my sleep in before I have to go over there and back to back. But I couldn't be more excited.
It's going to be an absolute blast. And of course, we'll be covering it here nonstop on the record and at CalledIt with our daily calls covering every single match for the World Cup. We will start daily programming, by the way, next week. So make sure you tune in. Same time, 11 a.m. Eastern time. We have got you covered with World Cup action and plenty more. But, ladies and gentlemen, like we discussed a bit with a tease, and if you subscribe, which is absolutely free, by the way, at CalledIt.media, you can get the newsletter, you can get the notifications to see what the daily call is. Now, we are circling out on the diamond a baseball matchup. AL East Division Showdown. You have the Boston Red Sox and the Baltimore Orioles. So earlier when we were putting it out there for Called It, it was trading around 53% chance that the Boston Red Sox would overcome the Baltimore Orioles. Now it's actually gone in the opposite direction. So you're trading at a cheaper price, 51%, if you do believe that the Boston Red Sox come out on top of this game against Baltimore. So Brian Bayo taking the bump for Boston. Trevor Rogers is southpaw on the other side. Dane, let's kick it to you, my friend. So the conviction, the daily call, the challenge with the run is going with the Boston Red Sox to win this game. Do you agree with the daily call? Do you like that conviction? Or do you agree with what the market's showing now that Baltimore may actually have a bit of value?
You know, Danny, first of all, I have a slight bone to pick with you because I'm here in the New York area and you are putting me in a position to agree with a Boston Red Sox victory among all things. You see literally Yankee stuff behind me and I'm over here. Now I'm going to have to tell you that, yes, I do in fact agree with the call. And I do think the Boston Red Sox will take this one, kind of daytime slate here on a Thursday in Fenway Park. And the reason is, I'm attacking Trevor Rogers. Mm-hmm. Trevor Rogers has been defecating the mattress lately. He's only gone more than 5 innings in one of his last 7 starts. The Baltimore Orioles are bottom 5 in ERA in all of Major League Baseball with a team ERA of 4.65. But Trevor Rogers is 2 full runs above that at about 6.85. Same thing when it comes to whip. The Baltimore Orioles, bottom 5 in Major League Baseball. But Trevor Rogers, 1.56 whip. I think this Boston Red Sox offense, which has been hot lately, the Red Sox have scored 8 or more runs in 3 of their last 4 games. I think they will be able to keep it going against Trevor Rogers, who quite frankly is one of the worst pitchers so far this season in Major League Baseball, right? So I see hot Boston bats. I see an opportunity against Rogers. And on the other side, Brian Bayo has actually been decent. His ERA has gone down about 2 runs over his last month and a half. He has had 0 or 1 earned runs given up in 4 of his last 5 starts. And the Red Sox beat Baltimore last night 8-1. So if you need one more thing as the kind of clincher to go along with this call, it's the fact that the Red Sox have a more rested bullpen. They only use one of their arms out of the pen in a kind of runaway win. So they are fresh even after Bayo is excused from the bump. But for me, this is, yes, Boston continuing to attack with hot bats against a horrible pitcher right now in Trevor Rogers.
Yeah, there's no sugarcoating it. Trevor Rogers has been brutal this entire season, where Bayo on the other side is showing a bit of optimism as of late. With his past couple of starts, the underlying metrics are indicating that that could continue with his success, especially at familiar areas of Fenway Park. Maya, we bring in you here to get your thoughts on the Diamond. Red Sox, Orioles, again, 51% is what's currently trading at Kalshi. Now, when Called It gave it out, it was at 53 cents. And the conviction of Called It said it should be as high as 56%. How do you feel about this matchup?
You know, I would have to agree, and I'm so happy that Dane and I have found something that we have the same opinion on. You know, I think the Boston Red Sox, they have the pitching advantage, slightly better matchup overall. Like Dane said, Bayo has been pitching really well lately. In his last 2 starts, didn't give up any runs. It's been very hard for hitters to get comfortable against. On the other hand, you know, like Dane said, Rogers is in a tough spot. Boston's lineup tends to hit better facing left-handed pitchers like him as well. And in a close game where, you know, at this point it's basically priced at a coin flip, I would trust Boston more. I think they have the better hitting matchup.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. Maya, I think you said it perfectly, and Dane, obviously you brought it up too. And like you said, you know, you may not want to bet on the Red Sox. It makes your skin just crawl a little bit here, my friend. But hey, they're second in baseball over the last month against lefties with a 129 weighted runs created plus. Talk about Rogers. Not only is his ERA over 680, but his xFIP is at 480. and he's given up 21 earned runs over the last 5 starts. And again, like Bale's a very erratic guy, Dane. But, if you look at his last 4 out of 5, I always like with the metric XFIP. It's more of an indication of what's to come in the future, right? And it's been 295 or lower in 4 out of his last 5 starts. So even though the market, you usually don't want to be against it, right? But I just see this as a better opportunity for us to get the more promising pitcher here.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who don't know, when Danny mentions XFIP, that is the expected FIP is fielding independent pitching, right? So really taking some of these other variables out and kind of the performance of the pitcher. And like you said, with an XFIP below 3 right now, I think there is a dramatic difference in the kind of recent form of these two pitchers. So I am with you, Danny. To me, this is really about attacking Trevor Rogers, who has been absolutely horrific over, lately. And you combine that, the other part I said is that Boston, 9 runs, 8 runs last night. So they are warming as the weather is getting warm as well. They are the home team. You got to like that as well. So I think all of these indicators would have me lean with the Red Sox. But the obvious trump card in all of this is you have a spot to attack Trevor Rogers. And so I say do so at what is basically a coin flip.
Love it. Right there with you and completely agree with CalledIt's conviction today. They believe it should be trading at 56 cents. Right now, you can get it at 51 cents. You can see on the screen at Kalshi, but earlier, even at 53 cents, still plenty of value to be had with the home team in the rubber match as the Red Sox look to claim the second of 3 games against their division rival. But let's go ahead and move on, guys. Let's talk a little bit of soccer here because, hey, like we said, we are getting closer and closer to the start of the World Cup. Let's talk some dark horse futures here because at Kalshi, at Polymarket, everywhere, of course, there is plenty of value to be had across the board. And we'll bring both of you in here as we look at some of these numbers. Obviously, at the top, you have France trading at 17 cents. Spain, a little bit less, around that 16 mark. England, just under 11 cents. Portugal, Argentina, the list goes on and on. Maya, let's kick it out to you. Dark horse. We know who the favorites are. We want a little bit of a longer shot here, right? We want, a little bit to go a long way. What would you maybe suggest people keep an eye out for country-wise for this dark horse selection?
Everyone loves an underdog. And I think that Turkey have been flying under the radar. I haven't heard them be mentioned, in the dark horse talk very much. Look at the talent they have. They have Arda Güler, they have Yildiz, some of the most exciting young playmakers in world football. You have Çalhanoğlu, who's also bringing that leadership and experience at the higher level. These aren't prospects. These are players that are competing and succeeding at top European clubs. We saw Euro 2024 that Turkey can handle the pressure of a major tournament. They reached the quarterfinal. They played with confidence. They showed that they can go toe-to-toe with elite opposition. I think that a lot of the dark horses are missing that tournament experience. And if history has taught us anything, it's that World Cups are often defined by one team that catches momentum at exactly the right time. We saw Croatia do it in 2018, Morocco in 2022. And Turkey has that similar profile: young, talented core, experienced leaders, and enough quality to beat bigger nations in that knockout match. So, they're not my favorite to win it all, but if you're asking for one team outside of the traditional contenders, I think that they could make a deep run and shock a lot of people. So I'm going to back Turkey. I think that they're my pick for the dark horse.
Ooh, all right, Turkey for the dark horse selection from Maya. Dane, thoughts on Turkey and elsewhere?
Yeah, listen, I like what Maya's saying, especially when she talks about a young squad, right? Because there's always these guys that can take that next step on the world stage and overperform. And that's part of the reason why I'm going with Norway, because I also think that they have a young core. When you look at, first of all, if I'm going to take a dark horse, give me who I believe could be the best striker on planet Earth right now, and that's Erling Haaland, right? And hey, here's what you need to know. He is the 3rd choice to win the Golden Boot. Right? Even though Norway is the 9th choice, Erling Haaland himself is only behind Mbappe, only behind Harry Kane, and you had the favorites up there where France and England are, right? So everyone knows that Haaland can score goals. He scored 16 goals in only 8 qualifying matches. Norway is in incredible form. They won all of their European qualifying matches, and they did so by scoring 37 goals total and only allowing 5. So they're in good form. They have one of the best strikers on the planet, but that's not all. They have other young talent. When you talk about Martin Odegaard, who, by the way, had 7 assists in European qualifying, and he didn't even play in all of those games, right? Other guys like Antonio Musa, who's only 20 years old from RB Leipzig, right? Other guys that they have in a young core. But once you get into a knockout kind of stage, give me a team that has Erling Haaland, who could score on absolutely anybody at any point in the game, on any corner kick. That is the kind of dynamic goal scoring presence you need to be a dark horse and kind of move forward. The one thing I will say, when we've talked about the World Cup, we've talked about which groups are easy, which groups are harder. Well, Norway is in a tough group. They're in Group I, along with France and along with Senegal. It is going to be very important to see what Norway does in the matchup against Senegal. That may, in fact, decide who kind of is in second place in that group. But as you remember, with the expanded field, a few of the third place teams in the group will also advance to the knockout stage. But basically, when I see Norway at only about a 2% chance as the 9th choice, but they have the best striker in planet Earth, I am going to use that as a dark horse, because anytime, anywhere, against anybody in a knockout stage game, you could have a 1-0 final with Haaland scoring the lone goal.
But Maya, I mean, when you hear about Haaland, right, this is his first World Cup he's been involved with. We know the stud that he is, but can he live up to that pressure? Is it worth investing a bit in that market?
Yeah, I think Norway is definitely one of those teams to look out for. Only 2 teams in the qualifying for the 2026 World Cup won every single game, and that was England and Norway. They absolutely steamrolled their opposition. I think they played Italy, Israel, Estonia, and Moldova. And
the Moldova one was 11-1, for goodness sake.
Just absolutely obliterated competition. So I would never underestimate them. I think they have a great, great team. Haaland, of course, the guy's a robot. I mean, he's unbelievable. So he's so dangerous in front of goal. And I'm not surprised that he's, one of the contenders for the Golden Boot. He's really unbelievable.
Yeah. But I think, Danny, also that suggests something, right? The fact that Norway is the 9th choice in the market, right? But Haaland is the 3rd choice in the Golden Boot. Now, you're only going to be a true contender for the Golden Boot if you play enough games, right? And so to me, that's a little bit of a disconnect. We all think France is going to play a ton of games. That's why Mbappe is the favorite. A lot of people think England's going to play a ton of games. That's why, Kane is the 2nd choice there. But to me, the discrepancy of where Norway is in the team market versus where Haaland is in the Golden Boot market actually suggests that not only does everybody think that Haaland is going to score a ton of goals, but it may be enough to get Norway to play more games than the numbers would suggest.
Well, great point. But hey, guys, I think you're completely ignoring a clear dark horse here that I am looking at. How about Switzerland? 1% chance, 83-1 American odds is what it comes out to. Defensively, they're outstanding in the qualifying stage, tied with Spain for the 2nd fewest goals allowed. And in Group B, it seems like a very, I don't want to say easy, but an easier path compared to other groups. Again, you guys both alluded to it. It's not to say we're, going, oh, they're absolutely going to win. But when you look at getting in at the right price now, potentially cashing out later and making a profit, how are we ignoring the Swiss here? I mean, am I crazy for thinking about them?
Switzerland, they have a few great players that I think that they're going to depend on a lot. Some very interesting young players too. I think I'm going to be interested in watching Manuel Akanji. As a team, I don't think anyone has ever had that love for Switzerland. They're not a known footballing nation, so maybe that's what makes them a little bit dangerous. I would be interested in watching Switzerland. I think that, are they going to go far? No. Are they going to maybe impress us, surprise a few people? Potentially.
Dane, please give me something here, man. I'm giving them the love. I mean, someone has.
Well, you're going to be the only one giving them the love, but I'm going to take that kind of profile and bring it over to another. I like that you talked about maybe not a team that's going to go all the way, but a team that will provide a kind of cash out option. And I remember talking to both of you guys about this in a previous show that we did. How about Mexico? One of the host nations, right? Also very well defensively organized, also with a young striker, goal scorer, and Santi Jimenez over from AC Milan. And they are going to have this incredible home field advantage at Estadio Azteca over 7,000 feet. So if they get to the knockout stage, right? Imagine them, first of all, I think they play a third place team if they win Group A, which, by the way, another, in my opinion, softer group with South Africa, I think Korea, I think Czechia, a group that they can win, maybe be in position to play a third place team in the first knockout stage. And then all of a sudden, you have the home team, you have a defensive-minded team, and I think that 1% that you see over at Calci will at least be higher than that and provide you with some kind of cash-out option or some other way to play it by maybe betting against them in a round of 16 matchup or something like that. But you want to establish these kind of tent poles early on before the tournament gets going, and I would consider Mexico.
Maya, do you agree?
Yeah, I think Mexico, we spoke about it last time. The home advantage is huge, not only because of, the fans and everything, but they are playing in stadiums that are not easy for European teams to play in. That heat is no joke. And as much as you can go over there and train a few weeks before, the Mexican team is going to be a lot more used to those conditions. And I think that in those last, few minutes when you're feeling really, really fatigued, tired, cramps, that's when that extra kick is going to be really important. And I think that with that front two, Mexico is going to be very strong.
I mean, again, that home field advantage is going to be massive. So there's no question that Mexico is going to be an entertaining team to watch, an exciting one, potentially one that, again, like Dane mentioned, could at the very least offer you a viable cash out option once we head into the 2026 World Cup. Start next week. Going to be an absolute blast. But we gave you a handful of dark horse candidates to consider over at Calci. What about in the music industry, guys? Something to consider here. Now, I'm going to be honest. I'm not a massive Swiftie, so you guys may have to carry us in this regard. But let's talk about this market that you can invest in if you want to with Taylor Swift and her streams. Again, the beauty of these prediction platforms. So Taylor Swift's I Knew It, I Knew You drops Friday. It's the lead single from the Toy Story 5 soundtrack. Calci has reacted with a Taylor Swift streams this year market. But is there really anything worth trading here? If you think the streams are going to be above 16.5 billion, there's a 99% chance. So not really any value toward the top there. But as you scroll down and down, you see a little bit more value potentially. Maya, let's kick it to you. You've got the Taylor Swift logo and you've got the blonde hair. I'm sure you have a beautiful singing voice as well. Any value to be had in this market with Taylor Swift and her streams?
Yeah, I would sing, but I'm on vocal rest at the moment, so I can't. And I'm a little bit scared to say this because the Swifties are very scary. Yeah. But I am not a Swiftie, and I can look at this, strictly as a market. I think the problem is everyone knows that Taylor Swift is already huge, so you're not looking at success. You're looking at whether she's going to be even bigger than the market already expects. And I think Toy Story has to be hitting franchise fatigue. I mean, Toy Story 5, like the first few films were cultural events and, it was To Infinity and Beyond and it was incredible. But by the fifth one, it's harder to generate that same urgency. And I think when you're looking at markets like this, you need that urgency. It's not just recognition. So you can count on, the families streaming it and the Swifties streaming it. But beyond that, I don't see it really blowing up.
Yeah, hey, I'll take your word for it. I love it. Franchise fatigue. You're going anti-Swifties. They are a dangerous crew. That's that much we do know. They have infiltrated the football world here in the United States. There's no questioning that. Dane, are you a Swiftie? Are you a low-key Swiftie that we're not too sure about until now?
So no, I am not, but I am not going to get on the wrong side of that crew, right? So here's the thing. I agree with a lot of what Maya said, right? And when you showed the market, I'm not betting anything that's going to be 98%, 97%, anything like that. There are numbers in the 80s and then it goes all the way down, right? So the one counterpoint I would say is really piggybacking off something Maya said. that Taylor Swift is so established already, right? With the Swifties, and we're all talking about that. The question is, what, if anything, could get her to a new audience, a new market? And quite frankly, Toy Story could be it, because you said, Maya, then there's going to be the family streaming, the young kids, right? There may be some untapped potential there in some kids, whether they be male or female, that is not a quote unquote Swiftie, that would be into streaming I Knew It, I Knew You, because of the entry point with Toy Story. You also mentioned, Danny, that they've taken over the football world, right? And you know what else is going to happen this summer? Right around the time this movie is going to drop. I think the release date for Toy Story 5 is June 19th. It is also rumored that that's right when Taylor Swift and the wedding to Kansas City Chiefs star Travis Kelce is going to be, right? So maybe, just maybe, I'm not one of them, but maybe you have some other football fans with the wedding in the news, right? And so because I do see the slight potential for what I'll call untapped audiences in the young people, given the Toy Story, and the crossover football fan because of the wedding, I think there is a chance that this streams over expectations beyond that incredibly well-established base. So I would be willing to maybe take a gander at some of the markets that are less than 90%.
Maya, any rebuttal there? Or, I mean, again, our Swiftie knowledge only goes so far, but I didn't know if you wanted to add anything further.
I think the last good song that she released was Love Story, and I was really young when that one came out. So I think since then I haven't really listened to anything. I don't know if this will change me, but maybe, who knows? Maybe I'm going to become a Swiftie. There's still hope. There's still hope.
Look, Dane, this is why you got to respect Maya and anybody out there who may be just finding out about it. I mean, she has no fear whatsoever. This group, again, they're aggressive, but you have your objective take, and that's why we can trust you here on the record. I love it.
I'm
Everybody
safe.
watch
I'm
now.
safe over in Slovenia, I think. I'm a lot safer than if you were to say it over there in the US.
Just remember, that was Maya fading Taylor Swift, not me. That was her.
Oh, man. Yeah, what a time. What a time. Going against Taylor Swift, I guess you could say the queen of pop, I'm sure is what they call her. But yes, that is what else you can also trade on over at Kalshi. No shortage of fun things to look at investing some of your money in with some trades over at Kalshi and Polymarket. And that's what we're covering all the time here on the record, presented by CalledIt. Maya, Dane, you guys were great as always. Appreciate you hopping on and very much look forward to the next time when we'll be joining along as we get closer and closer to the start of the World Cup. But guys, make sure you follow them on their socials at Spittin' Speeds for Dane Martinez on X. And then Maya, you can catch all of her content specifically at Instagram, maya.pitchside, and for all of our content at CalledIt, CalledIt_media on X, CalledIt.media on Instagram. And if you want to sign up where it is completely free to do so for the newsletter, you see our daily call. You see how the challenge of the run where we look to turn $250 into $1 million is going on a daily basis. Go to www.calledit.media. And in case you missed it or you forgot, our daily call today, going on the run, this is going to be a trade on the Boston Red Sox. CalledIt's conviction has them at 56%. Now, the market currently is trading at 51% at Kalshi, so a sizable discrepancy there. But that's going on the run for a restart of the $250 investment, and it is the daily call. So make sure you go to the website and share your opinions, whether or not you agree or you want to go on the opposite side of it. Otherwise, folks, that's going to do it for another edition of On the Record presented by CalledIt. We will return on Monday, June 8th, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We will have daily shows starting up, beginning then in preparation for the World Cup and much more action in whatever arena of sports and otherwise. As you've heard in the past, we've talked about aliens, we've talked about Taylor Swift. We have it all covered. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy the rest of your week and weekend, and good luck with all your trades. Take care.